Hey guys, we're going to be going back to Dark Manticore of Dark Visions number 14 on Global for 2 additional reclears. Now, these bosses were changed from the JP version, and my day 1 clear was very hectic. I adjusted my team after finding the surprise out. It wasn't really optimized because I really sped through the changes. But even though I was, rushed and hectic, I still perfect scored on the first day with Dark Manticore because Zidane is just that overpowered. He carried the fight basically. But yeah, so for the first reclear, we're going to be just leaning into that all the way. We're going full Zidane. He's going to be solo capping the boss for 10 billion damage by himself. He is that powerful when you give him the team to support him. Now, this is more of like a flashy clear, just to show off that Zidane is so overpowered. The second clear we're going to do is going to be the re-clear, which is going to be the what if I don't have Zidane clear. I don't actually know if the second clear is going to perfect score or not. I didn't even plan it or calculate it yet. I'm just doing the Zidane clear first because Zidane makes it real easy. If you have Zidane, have really good gear, he can carry the fight all by himself. If you don't have Zidane, fast forward to the second clear where I do another clear without Zidane. And again, if you do have Zidane but he's not quite as well geared, you can swap out some of this. Like you can swap out like Ferris and like Sid and all that, and you can use more damage dealers, and it makes it a little bit easier. But just for the funness, we're going to go all Zidane. Okay, so Shira is again going to entrust. The whole party has 20 or better to water resist and 0 or better to wind resist. We're going to buff 100% wind with Bart. We're going to do 80 wind with Leviathan. I'm sorry, 80 water resist with Leviathan. Dragon's Brush, Call of the Wild, and then some auto limit so Shira can entrust every single turn. Warrior Light Bart just has the resistances. It's all that really matters. He's going to be just imbuing, amplifying, and all that. And technically, we don't need resist in the shift form because he's going to shift on the kill turn only, but there it is for the sake of it. Ferris is basically naked. She has the resistances needed in the base form. Shift form, we just gave her the Unsai clothes. She's going to be the Breaker and the Field unit and the Imperil unit. And, we're not gearing her for damage. We don't need it. If you do need it, by all means, gear her up. Zahn's going to be a passive provoker evasion. He's going to evade the wind attacks. We don't care about wind on him. 20 or better water. And he's going to spread buffs. He's on Lakshmi with stop and paralyze resist learned. That is important, though. So put him on Lakshmi. Sid's going to be our Beast Killer source, dual wielding, and make sure Zahn's dual wielding as well. Those two are going to chain AR on the kill turn. Sid, he has enough resist naturally. He's on Leviathan with water resist learned, so we can do Bar Wardiga for 80% water resist. And Beast Killer, and he's going to be a support chainer. And then Zidane, base form is naked, just got some resistance and wind resist, water resist. Shift form, Beast Killer, LB damage, 20 or better water. We gave him a water resist. He had just basically a free slot open, so whatever. And yeah, he gears, he's extremely easy to gear in Dark Visions. He's got maxed Beast Killer, maxed LB damage, and there we go. We're not even using weapon and perils like Noctis and all, because we don't need it. Now, it is going to be kind of tight, by the way. My calculations, Zidane is dealing about 10.5 billion on average, more or less, depending on variance. So it's not like a slam dunk here, but with an EX2 Zidane, it should be pretty doable. So we're going to go ahead and trust Zidane and use his base form LB right away. Sid will bar Wardiga. Bart will Blue Mage White Wind for 100% wind resist to the party. And Ferris will just use her Magnus to fill her LB gauge. And Zahn, we're going to do Paralyze Resist on this turn. Waking Protection from Lakshmi. Now, if you got like the anti-decay amulet on Zahn, you can skip this step. It handles that for you, but I'm assuming you don't have all that limited gear. Or at least minimizing it if you don't have it. Alright, now Zahn's going to do Stop Resist with Unstoppable Protection. Sid is going to Beast Spindle for the Beast Killer buff. We're going to entrust to Zidane, who is going to shift and do his shifted LB to continue stacking. People say Zidane's hard to use. I say you're foolish. He's not hard to use. He just requires a little bit of help. We're going to go ahead and use the shifted LB of Ferris to break the boss. Now we're going to use Barch to entrust Ferris again, so because we're going for a turn 4 clear, we don't have time for the long setup. So that way she can do her field in the base form. Alright. Some whatever attacks. Alright, Shira will entrust to Zidane again, who will stack yet again. We'll go ahead and drop Sid. What else are we doing? We're going to shift Ferris to the base form. She's going to Arrow Cannon. She's naked, so she ain't going to push the threshold. What are we doing with Bart? I got my little list here, and I will post my list after we're done. I'll post the actions we're using. Oh yeah, we're gonna nope, we're not gonna shift yet. I'm sorry. I'm doing it wrong. All right, we're going to imbue. Here it is. We're gonna imbue Zidane. We're also going to do Courage to Face Adversity and Winds of Pursuit. All right, we've at the finish. All right, now Zidane is going to Reflector. We're going to do critical on Sid. We're going to critical on Bart. So we're going to steal the killer. We're going to steal the attack buff. And we're going to share. Now, we still haven't amplified and all yet, so we're going to do that in a second. Okay. Alright, Ferris will do her base form LB here. We're going to do it just right away, just to put up the field. We're not even going to worry about her capping. She's naked. Who cares? We're going to shift Bart's, and we're going to do his Magnus to give AR frames. We're going to do Wind Amplify for the party, and then just whatever. It doesn't really matter what else he does. Shira will entrust to Zidane again, who will do his fully stacked LB. Sid will double cast or dual wield Wind's Wake along with Zidane. And there we go. We go ahead and chain these up. And boom, 999999999. Zidane did the damage cap by himself on the Dark Manticore. That is a powerful Zidane. Perfect score. Okay, so I showed the team already. Yes, I'm not going to show the team anymore. So now let me go ahead and plan a re-clear without Zidane if you don't have the most overpowered monkey in the game. Okay, I'm going to plan a re-clear, which may or may not perfect score without Zidane. I don't know. I know it can be perfect score without Zidane, but that probably involves Arden, who I don't have. I'm going to go ahead and math it out, and we'll see what happens. And if I can figure out a perfect score without Zidane, we'll do it. If not, I'll do the closest I can. So see you after the planning. Later. Alright guys, we're going to be going back for another clear on Dark Manticore. We did the Zidane clear a minute ago. Now we're going to do the no Zidane clear. Because we're not using Zidane, we're going to be using Dragoons to do the damage instead. Now, Noctis, Edgar, and Arden are the three big MVPs if you don't have Zidane. I don't have Arden, so I'm not using him. I'm going to be using the Elric brothers to fill in the missing damage. So based on my calculations, this team will be doing, Noctis will be doing approximately 5-ish billion damage, Edgar approximately 4-ish billion damage, and we're going to handle the missing damage with Edward Elric, who is going to do approximately 3-ish billion. So we're looking for somewhere around 11 billion or so, you know, plus or minus based on variance. So this is the team we're going to be using. And if you have Arden, by the way, definitely swap out Edward Elric for Arden, and that'll do way more damage. Dragoons just do a lot of burst damage. Anyway, before I start showing the team, let's go ahead and point out the espers we need. Bart's is on Lakshmi for stop resist. Make sure Lakshmi has stop resist learned. We're using water resist from Leviathan, Bar Wardiga, and that's all that really matters. The rest of the espers are just based on your best possible damage. Wind teams, so we're using Ferris. Now the whole team has 20 or better water resist, 0 or better wind resist. We're doing 100 wind buff and 80 water buff. We also want paralyzed immunity on everyone except for the Dragoons shifted form, because they'll be in the air for the paralyzed turn. But the base form of the Dragoons and both forms of everyone else needs paralyzed immunity. Alright, so base form Ferris, not really relevant. Shift form, just a little bit of water resist. And we gave her Bushido Freedom to handle the Imperils. Noctis, base form, again, not super important, just some water resist. Shift form, geared him for damage. He's got some water resist. And then double sword, jump damage, beast killer. He's going to be carrying most of the fight, even though he's wrong element. 275 beast and 775 jump. Edgar, base form, status immunity, some resist, and then shift form. We've got, hold on, I just dropped my pen. Where did it go? Okay, forget it, I'll look for it later. Sorry about that. Okay, so Edgar has a sword and a spear for the Imperils. He's got 20 or better water. And then other than that, jump damage beast killer. He's got 275 beast and 650 jump. Let's see. Zidane is going to be our passive provoker with evasion. He's got the Craftsman's Book as well to imbue wind because we're going to be busy with Bart's. Other than that, yep, 20 or better water resist. Bart's. Now, I didn't gear Bart's for damage. If you're short on damage, by all means, gear him up. But I don't really need it for him. Base form, we do want to be dual wielding, though. That is important. So dual wield the base form. Status immunity, some water resist. There we go. Shift form, not super important. Just status immunity, water resist, and yeah. Edward Elric is going to be an LB damage finisher in the shift form, but base form, just some water resist, paralyzed immunity. And we gave him 1,000 needles so that we can... I really want to find that pin. I gave him 1,000 needles so we can mirage the party for the Bushido turn. And then shift form, we're shifting on the kill turns. We don't got to worry about his resistances in the shift form. He's got double sword, beast killer, LB damage, and there we go. 205 beast, 300 LB, and that's it. That's the party. Let's go in here and do it. So we should comfortably overcap without worrying about variance based on this team, this gear. All right, so we're gonna bar Wardiga Zidane. We're going to White Wind with Bart for the 100 resist. We're going to go ahead and use the Magnus on Elric and Ferris. This is just for later. You don't really need to do it this turn, but you can. And then Noctis and Edgar can just guard for now. Now, the reason we're going for a turn... we're going for a turn 7 clear. I'm not sure if I mentioned that. The reason we're going for a turn 7 clear is we want to set up the Dragoons for max possible damage. And turn 7 is a good turn to kill the boss. So we're going to go ahead and shift Bart's on this turn. And we're going to now do stop resist from Lakshmi. The rest of the party can just guard. We don't really need anything from them yet. We gotta just wait until we can get a nice turn lined up on turn 7 for all the damages. Alright, so now we're going to start setting up the Dragoons. They both got like a 5-turn setup for their optimal damage. So we're going to Dignified on Edgar, and we're going to base form LB on Noctis. That's going to imperil the boss to swords and all that. The rest of the team can just keep waiting. Alright, so there's going to be an imperil on the party on this turn, as well as a stop and paralyze. We're immune to everything, though, so that's okay. Oh, he actually didn't do the stop. I guess the stop and paralyze is random on turn 3. He didn't do it. Anyway, he didn't do it. Not a problem. If he had, we were prepared for it. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and 1,000 Needles with Elric to mirage the party, and now we're going to Bushido our own party with Ferris. It is important to note she is not dual wielding in the shift form. Okay, so now we're going to do, let's see, Edgar is going to shift and do his LB. Noctis is going to shift and do all his skills in the shift form. We're going to do Warp Light, Return of Dawn, and Arminger. Bart, on this turn, is going to Raging Winds for the water resist. I'm sorry, the wind resist. Then we're going to amplify the party to wind, and we're going to do Courage to face adversity. That's going to be our source of Beast Killer. It's only 100 Beast Killer. It's not as good as Sid's, but it's good enough. And then Zidane is going to bar Wardiga because we dispelled our team a moment ago. We need water resist again. Okay. Alright, so next turn the boss is going to do stop and all that. So Zidane is going to, Bart is going to stop resist again for the party. Zidane is going to imbue himself with wind, because like I mentioned, we're going to be busy with Bart's. Bart had to do stop resist. Elric is going to do Get Up You Novice. This is going to boost his attack power and all that. We're going to use Noctis to do his jump power-ups with all 3 of his charges. Edgar is going to go ahead and jump on this turn. And Ferris is going to do the shift form LB. So Edgar is going to jump this turn. It's going to wait for this to finish. And we're going to jump Edgar. Edgar's old school. His jumps takes multiple turns. So we've got to jump early with him. Okay. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and use Ferris to shift to the base form now and do the good Wind in Peril with Arrow Cannon. And she's almost naked in the base form, so we're not going to push any thresholds. We don't got to worry about it. We're not gearing her for damage. We're going to do This Fight You Lose to fill LB gauge on Elric. Looks like his was filled anyway, but in case it wasn't, that would fill it to the maximum. Bart is going to go to the base form. And we're going to entrust to Ferris. Remember, we need to do Ferris's shift base form LB for the field. So I'm going to go ahead and entrust her. This just allows me to... This gave her a free turn on turn 4 to Bushido the party. Yeah, the reason... Normally she would fill her own LB, but because of the actions, this works out. You know, just trust me. And then Zahn is going to get us ready for next turn. We're going to Reflector. We're going to do Critical on Bartz for that killer. That also has an attack buff. And then we're going to... Like, there's nothing really else to do. I guess we can just... There's really nothing else to do. We can Elemental on himself. It's irrelevant. And then Spread. Alright, wait for all this to finish. And then Noctis will go ahead and jump as well. We'll get ready for a kill next turn. Okay. So we're going to base form LB with Ferris, and because we're not using her for damage, we're just going to go ahead and do it immediately on turn 1. Or, I mean, not turn 1, at the beginning of the turn. That puts the field up. It actually makes it easier to not worry about timing as well. We're going to go ahead and AR dual-wielded with Zahn and Bartz. They're going to cap. We're going to shift Elric, and they're going to use their shifted LB, and then we're going to drop their Dragoons. So, okay. So we go ahead and send these. And once the chain is built, we drop the 2 Dragoons. And I didn't quite see who did what. Yeah. Damage did something. I don't know. So we should have done 11 billion. So, okay, so we calculated approximately 11 billion. We did exactly 11 billion, so calculations were on point. Okay, so, you know, for swaps, I get a lot of questions like, what if I don't have Unit X? So let me point out some quick swaps that I could... Okay, so if you don't have Noctis, Arden can replace him. If you don't have Edgar, you will see him. Honestly, I probably wouldn't. You will see him at this point. He's kind of losing ground on his damage, but he's still good enough for today. Edward Elric, again, they're just pure damage. If you don't have them, you can swap them out with like Lastwell Reagan. Obviously, if you have Zidane, you know, by all means, bring Zidane. He can, as we saw from the first video, the first clear, he clears it all by himself. Zahn, if you don't have Zahn, you will see him. Zahn will be eternally useful in Dark Visions. You will see Zahn if you don't have him. Bartz and Ferris, these are a little bit trickier. There's no direct replacement for Bartz or Ferris if you're doing a win team. Those two are a really big combo. Bartz can be UOC'd, Ferris cannot be. If you don't have Ferris, there's nothing you can do about that. So replacing Ferris, what would be a good replacement? We would need a break. So if we replace Ferris, I guess Venera would be a good replacement. You would get a stronger defense break. You would lose the field effect. And Venera could also cap damage with her base form LB. If you don't have Venera, Cacteria, it's probably not the best here. She's a mage, and she's wrong element for this fight. Honestly, Cacteria, probably not. Prompto could do 87% defense break, and then could do a finishing move on the kill turn. Could work. Anyway, there's some ideas. And as far as Bartz go, he's like by far the best Wind in Peril. If you don't have Bartz or Ferris, then maybe going for like a Thunder team is better. Use the old Lightning, the original Lightning, Neo Vision's Awakening. We got her for free recently, as well as her EX1. She can do a 25% AoE Thunder Amplify, as well as a 130 Thunder in Peril. So you could replace Ferris with Lightning and replace Bartz with someone to break and do a Thunder team instead. So there's some options. So yeah, so let me go ahead and get out of here, and good luck on Dark Manticore.